Hi, my name is Austin Williams. Today I'll be reviewing Dante's Inferno, specifically Cantos 27 and 28. 27 reads, I now absolve you in advance. Teach me to batter Penestrino to the ground. You surely know that I possess the power to lock and unlock heaven. In this canto, Dante is in the eighth circle of hell, which is reserved for the people who have committed fraud in their lifetime, one of whom is Guido de Montefeltro. Now Guido is talking to Dante and explaining to him why he is in the eighth circle of hell. He starts off by saying that he was working under Pope Boniface VIII. Now Pope Boniface VIII at the time was trying to gain political power, and he was making Roman families say that he was their rightful ruler. There were a couple of families that denied him, one of whom was the Colonna family. Now the Colonna family hid out in a fortress called Penestrino. Now Penestrino was being attacked and bombarded by Pope Boniface because he was trying to force them to submit to his rule. The fortress was not budging, so Boniface went to Guido and said, I will cleanse you of your sins. You can just give me counsel, and then you will go to heaven because I can unlock it and let you through because he's Pope or something. And Guido believes him. He's like, the Pope's not going to lie to me, so I might as well do what he says, and I know it's wrong, but the Pope will cleanse me of it. This is found in a passage later on when he says, Since you cleanse me of the sin that I must now fall into, Father, know that long promises and very brief fulfillments will bring a victory to your high throne. So here Guido is saying, like, I believe you, you'll cleanse me, I will go to heaven, everything will be okay. This is how you do it. And he tells him that he needs long promises but very brief fulfillments. This means that he's telling the Colonna family that they can walk, they don't have to submit to his rule, they'll be like their own separate place in the Roman Empire. And as soon as he tells them that, though, he goes and rescinds on his promise and attacks them whenever they open their gates. And that is the reason why Guido is in the eighth circle of hell. And the whole time there, he's complaining about Pope Boniface and how he was doing all this bad stuff, and it wasn't his fault, truly. But the thing with the eighth circle of hell was that it wasn't necessarily for the people who committed fraud themselves, but the people who counseled the people to commit fraud. So Guido didn't do it, but he committed the crime of counseling a person to do it.
Guido's punishment for his crimes was to have a monster wrap his tail 8 times around him, and then the monster would bite him.
There's a quote from Richard J. Quinones that describes Guido de Montefeltro. It goes, quote, Guido, who as a military strategist was more of a fox than a lion, undergoes his own retributive punishment. He is the epitome of the clever counselor caught in his own devices. In Canto 28, Dante comes upon the people who are considered sowers of scandal. When these people were alive in their lifetime, they split groups of people apart, and they made brothers attack each other and did all these little things to twist people's minds to make them attack each other just to gain something for themselves. And now in hell, they have the same done to them. They are being attacked by a demon who is severing their bodies in half. So what happens is these people are in an endless circle around a demon who cuts them in half according to their punishment, one of whom is Bertrand de Born. Now, Bertrand, at the end of Canto 28, tells his story, and he says, I made the son and father enemies. Achitophel, in his malicious urgings, did not do worse with Absalom and David. Because I severed those so joined, I carry, alas, my brain dissevered from its source, which is within my trunk, and thus in me one sees the law of counter-penalty. So, Bertrand de Born told this little king, this new king, that he had to kill his father to gain full control of the empire. And so he was telling him and counseling him to do all these bad things. And finally the king cut off his father's head. And now in hell, Bertrand de Born, for counseling this son to cut his father's head off, is now having his head cut off eternally. So he's going in this circle and he gets his head cut off and he has to carry it around and then it's healed. So the thing with these people is that as soon as they're cut, the circle, when they're walking around the circle, their bodies heal themselves. So his head would get back onto it as soon as he reached the demon again, but then the demon would just cut it off again. So that is Canto 20.